you need to be involved politically because politics is literally the art of governing people, right? That's literally what politics are. So you should be involved. I don't really support activism. I do for some things, but what we see nowadays in 2025 United States and like the Western world are 24/7 activists. They're an activist for everything. They've been radicalized. It's crazy. Um and Matt, I don't know if you're still here, but welcome in by the way. Um it's I would say largely for the most part being an activist is actually bad. I think it radicalizes people to a lot of things that they shouldn't really be involved with and whatnot. But there really is no news. But we're just gonna go over a little bit of stuff. I'm just trying to hang out, kind of basically. Um, and there wasn't really any news earlier. So let's fucking get into it, and I'm gonna prove to y'all why, like that there is no news. Okay. How was your day, Matt? How's work and all that? Okay. Katy Perry blasts off into space during a successful Blue Origin launch. You mean Blue Origin, the company owned by the world's second richest man who cheated on his wife and then his wife divorced him and left him and took half of his wealth? And they're going to pretend like they're propping up women. Like, and see, I don't really care about all the shit I just said, right? That's the honest truth. That Jeff Bezos's business is his business with him and his relationship and stuff like that. Just like Elon Musk and his children, all that. That's all their business, right? None of that's my fucking business. Okay? But the only way to expose the hypocrisy is say shit like that, right? It comes off very stupid. I'm not actually that stupid. I don't believe in that shit. But the left does believe in that shit. Okay. They're the ones who like champion the DEI and woke narratives and stuff like that. And I know they want to try to say that people overuse DEI or woke and they use it to just like they're against it because they're against women and all that kind of shit. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're tired of you doing dumb shit like this, right? And then you think it's worth the news. This article is from Variety, whatever the fuck that is, and it's by Cynthia Littleton and Jem Eswad, right? Painful day at work. We had a big delivery today, about 130 bucks. So we had to unload each one, bring 70 pounds. It took us 2 hours. Why are you guys unloading boxes? You guys shouldn't be unloading boxes. That's my first question. But like, think about it, guys. So let me read the I'll read the fucking article, right? Pop superstar Katy Perry and CBS Mornings anchor Gayle King were among the six passengers Monday on an all-female voyage into the edge of space via Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space travel business. Y'all do realize that when we first, not just us, but also the Soviets, when mankind first sent people into space, into the moon and shit like that, like I don't know about y'all, right? But when I was in school and I was learning about that stuff and they said, wow, this is the first man in space, I didn't go, wow, that's the first male in space, right? They said man as the shorthand for mankind, right? And that's the way that it was taught to me, is that it was short for mankind because it was an achievement for humanity, not for men, right? So they say first man in space. I guess all women are just brought up to go, wow, look at the patriarchy, right? Oh my God, first man in space, so we need a first woman in space. No, right? Right? Just like the saying, one small step for man, one giant leap for all mankind, right? Because his one step for man was for himself, and then the big step was for mankind, for humanity. Okay? But This is why it's woke and it's DEI. All things that have existed up until DEI, it wasn't like pushing, wow, first man in space because he's a man. No, it was like, it was all encompassing. But Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket soared into space after blastoff from West Texas Launch Facility at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday. The 8-minute flight traveled more than 62 miles into the atmosphere past the Karman line, which per Blue Origin is the internationally recognized boundary of space. Well, I just want y'all to know that it's not it's either it's from Blue Origin and it's not internationally recognized because you're saying that it's from the company and nowhere else, or it is in fact internationally recognized as the boundary of space and it's not per Blue Origin. It's per an international standard set, right? This is the problem with doing DEI and woke shit, right? Variety magazine having 2 women write this article, right? They're more concerned about the stupidity that they're about to put in this article than actually appropriately fucking disseminating information. It's fucking insane, right? So it's either like, sure, you can say that like as Blue Origin stated that it's the internationally recognized fucking boundary of space, but they're saying per Blue Origin, which indicates that they're putting basically liability on Blue Origin that it is or it is not, right? And look, the Karman line is mainly used for legal and regulatory purposes of differentiating between aircraft and spacecraft. While named after Theodore von Karman, who calculated a theoretical limit of altitude for aeroplane flight, blah, blah, blah. The Karman line is mainly used for, blah, blah, blah. Most international organizations and regulatory agencies, including the United Nations, accept the FAI's Karman line definition or something close to it, which, there you go, means that it's internationally recognized and depicted as such. So it's not per Blue Origin. Jesus Christ, man. Like, fuck. Oh, stupid people. The New Shepard rocket. Oh, sorry. Blue Origin promises passengers in its burgeoning space tourism business that the trip offers the chance to experience several minutes of weightlessness and witnessing life-changing views of Earth. The module containing the astronauts suspended from 3 parachutes landed several minutes after the rocket. The New Shepard rocket operates autonomously without a pilot. Joining Perry and King are Bezos' fiancée, journalist and philanthropist Lauren Sanchez, engineer and NASA veteran Aisha Bowie, activist and scientist Amanda Nguyen, activist. What is that? Like, what kind of credibility is that? Right? You're describing someone who's a journalist and a philanthropist, which are their achievements, an engineer and NASA veteran, which are their achievements, scientist, which is her achievements, but activist isn't an achievement. And movie producer Carrie Ann Flynn. The launch is designed to bring attention to women in aeronautics. Do you guys see now? That is literally what DEI in the woke agenda is, right? They segregate themselves from the entirety of mankind. So they literally disenfranchise themselves and then say because they're disenfranchised, which is predominantly due to their it's like of their own volition, they then do stupid shit like this to try to validate themselves. There have already been women in actual space, not just at the fucking Karman line. Like actual women who've been on the International Space Station in actual space. Aisha Bowie here is a NASA veteran and an engineer. That doesn't mean that she's an astronaut. She just worked at NASA. Right? But that means NASA, she was in the field of aeronautics. Women have been in the field of aeronautics since the field of aeronautics, basically. Right? Why is it that when a man does something, it's all for mankind, but when a woman does something, it's for women? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Right? Perry posted on Instagram on Sunday, I gotta sing in space. But when asked about that comment during a pre-recorded CBS interview with all of the new astronauts, she said, "You're not an astronaut because you go to space. You're are you a pilot because you're on a plane? No. You're fucking not. Like, that's not how it works. You're an astronaut because you're an actual astronaut. You've undergone the training, right? You understand the field. You know things about the field. The only person potentially, like, and I'm not saying because just because you're a journalist and a philanthropist, you can't learn other shit. I'm not one of those people who believes that credentialing is everything, right? But credentialing in some cases, in very important cases, is viable, right? It's verifiable, right? So NASA veteran Aisha Bowie, she's not an astronaut just because she worked for NASA. She's an engineer that worked for NASA, right? You are not an astronaut. I mean, sure, by definition of the word, you can try to claim that you're an astronaut, but we all know it's not. You're not just an astronaut because you go to space. You're not just a pilot or an aviation expert because you fly in a plane. You're not a captain of a ship because you sailed on a boat, right? Because you're a passenger on something. Let me point out to you guys again. They state very plainly right here, the new Shepard rocket operates autonomously without a pilot. Therefore, no one on board is actually an astronaut. The fucking rocket itself does all of the work. Okay? Um it won't be about me, it will be about this beautiful earth. I actually appreciate that comment from Katy Perry, right? Because if if you get the opportunity to go to space and you want to sing in space, something to me something is deficient. Like something in you is deficient, but clearly maybe Katy Perry might have a good head on her shoulders. I don't actually think so. I think she's a liberal fuck. But I think from up there we will think, "Oh my god, we have to protect our mother." Oh, wow. Yeah, women don't get any credit for anything, and that's why Earth is always referred to as Mother Earth, right? Mother Earth. Wow, that has a female that has female intent, right? Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Perry or possibly another astronaut did indeed sing during the flight, although what she was singing was unclear. King told CBS News, "I've made no secret of the fact that I'm very nervous but also very excited." The TV coverage cut included footage of people on the ground cheering as the rocket took off and gained altitude. After a couple of minutes, it broke the sound barrier and entered the atmosphere. What's up, big Rinkos? Okay. We don't care about this video. Um, and look, man, I'm not a woman hater. I'm married, right? I'm straight. I love women. Jesus, I'm not a woman hater. I hate when people do this dumb shit because all you're doing is actually increasing a gender divide, right? That's all you're actually doing by this. These women did not achieve anything. They might have hit a personal life achievement for being in space, okay? But they did not actually achieve anything. They just passed the Karman line, had a couple minutes of brief weightlessness, and then came back down to Earth. That's cool. That's awesome. Sure. But what did they achieve? Women have already been in space. Women have already been to the International Space Station. Women have already literally been astronauts. So why are you trying to push this? Why did you do an all-female voyage? Okay. Why are you pushing articles about women empowerment and women in aeronautics and all of this other stuff unless you are intentionally trying to divide the genders or push a narrative that women are disenfranchised? Guess what? Men have lower life expectancies on average than women. Why is that? Because men are the ones who do more stupid shit. Men are the ones who pioneer in every field and die for us to make discoveries on what we should and shouldn't do, and then women come afterwards. Why are people so offended by that? Are you offended that men crawl around in sewage systems in cities and towns in order to clear out blockages and clean them up and stuff like that disproportionately than women do? Are you upset about that? Do we actually want equality? I don't fucking think so. I know women don't want actual equality. This is why women won't vote in favor of being forced to sign up for the draft, but they think they deserve the right to vote. So they're free of all of societal responsibility, but they're not free from all of but they also have all of societal freedoms. That doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. And if you want to say some stupid shit like women have to be scared of men when they're walking down the street, men are scared of other men when walking down the street. They just don't live in fear. You don't know what another man's fucking capable of. That is such a dumb fucking argument. Oh, why women are oppressed because they're fearful of men? Wow. Women are a little more intelligent than men, and they understand that men naturally are larger than them and stronger than them, and they're at a natural disadvantage to men. Men who are scared of great white sharks or grizzly bears or lions or something like that are pretty fucking intelligent if you ask me, because they know they're at a natural disadvantage to these other species. Fuck, it doesn't even have to be a male of that species. It can be a female of that species. It's a dumb fucking argument. But anyways, the point of this article is that clearly they're just trying to inject more divide and push a woke agenda of women inclusion. And you are actually disenfranchising women by doing this. You are turning people off from the idea of anybody supporting women in any field because you're forcing them. Nobody likes to be forced in anything. Right? And also, if you want men to be more I'm sorry, you could try to resent this, but if you want men to be more receptive of women in fields and stuff like that, you need to start broadcasting the hot ones. That's just how it is, right? The same fucking thing works it's the same way with women. Women want to be broadcasted with a very attractive men. They don't want to see ugly fat slobs or any of that kind of shit, or people who don't work out or something like that. Women want to see attractive people, men want to see attractive people. So if you're going to try to force it, maybe be smart about it. You know, kind of like a new John Wick movie that's coming out that's featuring Ana de Armas. She's basically the female version of John Wick. I haven't heard anyone being resentful about that movie. Not once. Why? Because Ana de Armas has come out and said, no, I'm not John Wick. John Wick is John Wick. And we don't need to make John Wick a woman. Right? We can come up with other creative content. So she is paid respect to her predecessor. Okay? She's a gorgeous woman. And she doesn't push ideologies. All she does is act to the best of her ability, right? By showing her determination and her skill, people and the fact that she is attractive, people are receptive to her. There hasn't been a single bit of bad publicity about the new fucking ballerina movie that's set to come out starring Ana de Armas, which is from the John Wick universe. Why is that? Why is that? Because she's not claiming to be a man, she's claiming to be herself, right? Bezos, founder and chairman of Amazon, was the first to greet the astronauts after landing. He popped open the hatch with a wrench and greeted Sanchez. Perry was next out of the capsule. She knelt and kissed the sandy ground. King emerged and did the same. Launched Blue Origin in 2000, the venture made its first flight in July 2021 with passengers that included Bezos and Wally Funk, a pioneering female astronaut who trained as part of NASA's Mercury program in the 1960s. Damn, she was old as fuck. Right? So there you go. Right? Wally Funk, a pioneering female astronaut who trained as part of NASA's Mercury program in the 1960s. So what are you talking about? The gravity of the event was reflected by a comment from one announcer who said, after the landing, it's truly remarkable that all these people on the ground have been looking up at the sky for the past several minutes and no one's been looking at their phone. Yeah, no shit, right? Okay. There's that. That's done. We don't care about that shit anyways because it's retarded. Okay? We all agree. We all agree it's retarded. Okay?